everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to film my review video for the Book Naturalist Book Club pick for the month of August. In August, we read The Invention of Nature, Alexander von Humboldt's New World by Andrea Wulf. And as you can see from the tabs, I really enjoy this book. This is a reread for me. And I enjoyed it just as thoroughly this time around as I did the first time around. So what this book is the story of Alexander von Humboldt, who was a German naturalist he was born in the late 1700s, and he did the majority of his work on exploring the natural world in the 1800s. And he was a person that really established how we think about the environment, how we think about the interconnectedness of all things in nature. Before his time, before his work, we didn't have any understanding of the idea that things were connected, or that there were places in the world that were connected through geography or similar climate or things like that. And Alexander von Humboldt, because he was a polymath, had this ability to sort of look at the whole picture and recognize how disparate parts came together and connected and worked together to form the ecology or environment of an area. So he, as a young man, he traveled to South America, and that was where he did his greatest work. He traveled all through South America, and he was able to document how vegetative zones change as you go up in altitude. So to show that, at sea level, you get one group of plants, and then as you go up and up and up to the top of a mountain, for example, up to the alpine, above tree line, you're seeing, maybe no vegetation. And he documented that zonation of habitats, ecosystems, species, in a way that nobody had ever done before. He was influential for many of our greatest thinkers on nature and the environment, from Darwin to poets and writers like Thoreau, and other, folks that you would recognize as environmental thinkers. So Andrea Wulf not only describes Humboldt's work and his life and everything he got up to while he was alive. He lived to be quite an old man, and he was so influential during his lifetime. I mean, there were big celebrations on his birthday around the world, and so many things in the world are named for Humboldt. But she not only describes his life and what he learned and discovered and influenced other people about, but she talks about all the people that he influenced, and how, for example, John Muir was influenced by Humboldt, and it really, because Muir wanted to emulate Humboldt, he ended up in the western part of the United States and did his greatest work of influencing the United States to protect places like Yosemite. It's really interesting to see not only the connections that Humboldt discovers in nature, but the connections that he established with people and the great thinkers of our time in terms of the natural world. This book does have a bit of a philosophical bent, so if that is not your preferred topic, that part might be a little bit difficult for you, but I think Andrea Wulf handles it with a light touch. I found this time around with this reread, the first 3 chapters were quite slow for me, but once sort of the setting of the stage was done and Humboldt was into his adventures, I was deeply enmeshed in this nonfiction again. And so, as I like to do, I will read a little section here, and so that you can get an idea of the writing style. Let's just start here. I'm going to pull down my glasses so I can actually see the words. Having prided himself on his systemic approach, Humboldt found it difficult to come up with a rational method of studying his surroundings. Their trunks filled so quickly that they had to order more reams of paper on which to press their plants, and sometimes they found so many specimens that they could hardly carry them back to their house. Unlike other naturalists, Humboldt was not interested in filling taxonomic gaps. He was collecting ideas rather than just natural history objects, he said. It was the impression of the whole, Humboldt wrote, that captivated his mind more than anything. Humboldt compared everything he saw with what he had previously observed and learned in Europe. Whenever he picked up a plant, a rock, or an insect, his mind raced back to what he had seen at home. So that is just a little bit of a section here in The Invention of Nature, so you can get an idea of what the writing style is like. I think this is a really excellent book and a really wonderful way to get a grasp of, like, basically our ideas about nature and the importance of the environment and how everything living in the world depends on one another. We're all connected in life. You know, there would not be any Lion King if it wasn't for Alexander von Humboldt. So that was a great reread for me. In September, we will be reading Eating to Extinction, The World's Rarest Foods and Why We Need to Save Them by Dan Saladino. I first read this book for the BookTube Prize a few years ago, and I read it on ebook. So this will be my first time tackling this one in the physical copy. This one is all about our food systems and agriculture, and it is divided into 10 sections, and each section is about a different food group or agricultural practice or something like that. And so you get a real survey of basically our food system. And I found it to be a great book the first time around, and I fully expect to enjoy it again the second time. So I hope you will join us in September for Eating to Extinction. I hope that you were able to join us in August for The Invention of Nature. If you did join us and read The Invention of Nature, please let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the book. Criticisms are welcome. If you didn't like it, let me know that as well, but I'm also happy to hear the things that you enjoyed about this book. I hope you're all doing well and finding some great books to read. I will talk to you later.